Test.
Yep. Right, so I just got a couple of
Sure, you ask me.
questions here. Um, oh, right. Good morning, guys. So today we're here with
Melvin,
Melvin,
yes.
Melvin So, the great Melvin So,
Oh,
and
so
yeah. So
sweet.
today we've got a few interesting questions for him. So yeah, Melvin, can you share with us like what was the weirdest thing you've ever sold on a webinar?
Weirdest thing I've ever sold. Wow. I haven't sold. I have not sold many different things. I've sold a lot of a few things because I tend to like to promote things that really resonate with me. So some of my friends sell a lot of different things. I sell a few. I sold Marsh Thurber. I sold X Factor. Let me see. What is the weirdest thing?
Or like someone else has sold that you've seen?
Someone else. I have a friend and a mentor whose name I will not say. But for the people that know, when he used to come to do events here in Asia, he would sell all of his stuff, including his bag, his jacket, his laptop, and then like his luggage. It's not even a joke. If you know who he is, a lot of love and respect for him. But yeah, like he would come and he would carry all of these things, and by the time he left, right, or he would sell students his luggage
Oh, is that
and
thing?
and his laptop. Like legit, he once gave me his laptop at the end of the event.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Awesome,
pretty weird.
awesome.
I had to give him money also. So
Awesome. And Melvin, can you share with us what was like the most amount of money that you've made in a webinar?
in a
Like,
webinar, it was
like what was
2.
your record?
2.25 million Sing dollars in 45 minutes, which means I start talking. At the end of my talking, within about 15 minutes, we collected 2.25 million Sing dollars. And this is on record, by the way.
Awesome. And like, how do you think someone can like sell so much, like on a webinar?
Well, I think a lot of people think it's just pure skill. There is a level of skill, a level of preparation also, but I think people must be in a state. So it sounds really cool for that. But these people came in. I provided value the day before. The company that I worked with at that point in time had a certain brand. We had certain levels of credibility. There were proof of the things that we were selling, and we had a track record of delivering and students getting results also. So it's not just about this persuasive skill to convince people to do something. People are not that silly. You
Yeah,
just
yeah.
these are not just people from a rural area have no idea what the heck is happening. No, these are like people in Singapore and Malaysia who are understandably skeptical. And we had proof, we had evidence, we had a brand, we had reputation, and we had success. So I think people really believe in us. And during that period of time when I was with them, I really did my best to deliver upon every single promise that was delivered.
Awesome, awesome. And maybe you could just share with the audience here, like, if people think, hey, if people think, running their first webinar is easy
Mm.
or running webinars are easy thing, like, why do most webinars flop?
I think it's just a lot of fundamental stuff. So you're asking me here I'm teaching folks that in order to succeed in this business, you need to begin first of all with what I call the inner clarity. I call it the metaphysical, but it's not like just like feng shui, that kind of stuff. But metaphysical means things in your thoughts, your clarity. You really want to do this business. What right do you have to speak on this topic? Is this a topic you care about? So it really begins there. So you must get clear. This is something I really want to do. Then all the way down to what's your uniqueness. I call it X factor. What niche you want to be in, who do you want to target specifically, what ads and things are you promising people. Then eventually it goes down all the way to the webinar. So I suspect that if people fail in the webinar, it could be they are not getting the right format at the webinar, or it might be because they're failing all the stuff at the front. If you're headed in the wrong direction, if you're selling an offer to the wrong kind of people,
Yeah.
if you don't really even care about the topic, if you don't have any expertise in the topic, then understandably your webinar will fail. So there's so many reasons why your webinar will fail, apart from just the fact that, hey, I might not know how to do a proper webinar.
Awesome, awesome. And I think maybe some people, would be skeptical of you, like, oh, like this guy, like he say he's made like 2.2 million, but
Oh,
like he's just
that is
wearing
only
like
in a
a
webinar.
simple like
Uh,
t-shirt,
uh.
he's dressed up, like just like a simple man like that. What would you say, like, to those people that
Well, I'm not too concerned because I've done this for 18 years, and to be really honest, I think it's kind of interesting. 18 years ago, so right now as of this shooting is 2025. 18 years ago, I started out as a broke 20-year-old kid. At that point in time, I was volunteering at a lot of events, and so to be honest, a lot of people remember me. The people have remembered and seen me through different stages of this 18-year journey. There have been people that remember me from the Success Resources days where I was
Mhm.
opening. doors and high-fiving people and putting people on chairs because I couldn't attend a single event. So it's not like, I'm telling a story that nobody has ever seen me before. I got photos, I got times, and I've done all of these things. I have had a lot of failure. It's not like 18 years of pure success. So this whole story has a lot of failure at the start. I think, at least 7 to 8, 9, 10 years of failure at the start. So yeah, I think it's not 18 years of pure genius. So I'm just sharing these days what I've experienced and done wrong, what I've discovered, what I've done correctly. And yeah, and I mean, to answer your question, why there's not a lot of bling. Well, first of all, I just don't like it. First, I find, okay, this is just I've never shared a lot of this before. I don't like watches for a very simple reason. I find they're very heavy around my wrist. So I know some people like it because it shows status, but I have to do a lot of things. I have to write, I have to type. I don't like heavy things around my wrist.
Right.
And I work out also. And also, I'm a person that likes to be very physical.
Okay.
So if I wear a very expensive watch, I have a high tendency that I'll slam it against something. So I'm very worried. And this has happened before. This has happened not to an expensive watch, to like Casio watch. I look at it and I say, hey, like,
oh man, Melvin, guys, Melvin is so strong and rugged. He smashed the Casio watch, guys.
So like Casio watch, right? I go home, I'm like, oh man, it's scratched up. And then I'm like, I'm not gonna buy a few thousand or 20, 30, 50, $100,000 watch. You get banged up. And I'm like, this sucks. So I don't like the feeling because it restricts. I feel it restrictive. And I think I'll mess it up.
Awesome.
So I like things. Yeah, you're right. I like things that are simple and rugged. Because a high chance I will screw it up.
That's awesome. Speaking of simple and rugged, like, do you mind sharing with us, like throughout your 18 years, right? Like, what's your story like? Like, how do you go from just this Mr. Nobody, to eating one meal a day?
Yeah.
And how did that, evolve into Success Resources, being a copywriter?
Yeah,
do you just mind sharing that real quick?
Yeah. I think Success Resources is just a part of the journey. So I started out 20 years ago, 2008, right? This is all just really verified. I was doing well in school before. I was born in Singapore, and I did very well in primary school, secondary school, and junior college. So, and when I say very well, I mean very, very, very well. Like I could go into like Harvard and great schools, 4 A's, many A1s, etc. But at that point in time, I was always a rebel. So I decided, I read a lot of biographies and I thought, I want to start my own business, despite having no skill, no network, no money.
Just like you guys, just like me too.
Because the books make it seem very simple. Read and like, hey, they screw around for 1-2 years, then they all become millionaires. I say, hey, I can screw around for 1-2 years and be a millionaire too. Well, I discovered that was not quite accurate. So I remember in 2008, I was melvin.so.2008 at smu.edu.sg. That was my actually login handle because I was from Singapore Management U. So I went there for 6 months and I said, I want to quit. And my mom asked me, so what do I do? I said, no, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be a multi-millionaire. Didn't happen for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, close to 7 years.
Wow, 7 years, guys. For 7 years.
Yeah,
tried and failed.
Because I always tell people you need a few things to succeed in business. You need network, you need skills, you need money. And the last one, of course, you need to put time and energy. Well, the first 3 are more valuable. The last one, everyone has. So I didn't have the first 3. So I only had the last one, which was time and money. So I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anybody, and I don't have money. So what proceeded was, just struggling, and you have no idea. So you don't know what you don't know.
Okay.
You don't know what the heck you're doing. You don't know why it's working or failing, largely failing.
Okay.
So I mean, just like literally, it's the idea of groping around in the dark. So all the way until I met a mentor of mine called Marshall Thurber.
Okay.
He was the rich dad, poor dad. Taught a lot of wonderful gurus, and he gave me a paradigm shift. He finally told me like, oh my God, like this is the way to run things. Here's a way to correctly think. Here's a way to run business, etc. And now enlightened, I came back and I did really well. I had my first 4-figure, then 5-figure month, and in a short amount of time, I went from $800 a month to my first 5-figure month. And I was like, oh man, there's actually stuff that works, and I started to really dive into that. Working at SR was an interesting short amount of time that I was there. I was writing copy, and they made money, but my salary was a lot. Highlight that also. But eventually I came out and did my own thing, and I promoted a lot of speakers. I didn't know how to do marketing. It clicked. I must really say it clicked for me. And this was around 1415. Like it really clicked for me.
Right. So do you mind sharing with us, like, how do you go from making nothing to your first 4-5 figures?
No problem.
What do you first do, or what was your first major breakthrough?
Everyone's looking for like a tactic. Well, see, it's down to principles and tactics both at the same time. So the first idea is this idea of transfer of trust. Second of all is the idea of realizing that what you want to offer people is value, not time and energy. So that was the thing that I never understood also, right? Because most people work in a salary, they work in a job that has a salary, and they offer time and energy. When you offer time and energy, that's cool. That's better than nothing, but time and energy is limited resource. Then if you think of yourself as a time and energy worker, and you think of giving people time and energy, then they don't really value it. But if you come from, hey, what can I add value to this deaf person? Value is something I teach over here, which is the difference between where they are now and where they want to be. You start asking transformational questions. You start thinking, instead of sending this person just a package, instead of sending this person, hey, I want to work for this amount of hours, instead of sending this person items, I'm sending them now a change, a solution to their problem, a transformation, and the way you frame it, the way you design it is different. Yeah. People have more budget, have more desire for things that can bring them to where they want to be versus just hi, I want to do work for 10 hours. Do you have any work for me to do? Right? So just the way I thought about what I offered, the way I framed it, it really changed. And that was just the beginning of it. There was at least 5 to 10 things I came back and did different. And all of a sudden, people responded differently.
Awesome. So today we're here, this is actually the day 3 of the Profitable Webinar Masterclass, and Melvin is here. Speaking with Nixman.
Yes.
So maybe if you just mind, sharing with our audience, how would you make like your first 10K online or 20K online if you were to start like all over again? Like what's like the one thing that you would do differently versus everyone else that's in the industry right now?
I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't do anything specifically. By different, I would say I wouldn't say different as in wildly different. I'll follow a lot of fundamentals. You want to make your first 10K, 20K. I won't do anything wow. I'll go through all the steps I covered here.
Okay, so back to the basics.
Yeah. It's always like literally 10 to 20K. You don't need fancy stuff. If you do fancy stuff, you will not hit 10 to 20. Fancy stuff can get you, if you're doing pretty well, let's say 80 to 100K, and then you want to like optimize a few things here, try out some things. It's a hit and miss because you never know whether the fancy things might increase conversions or decrease conversions. So someone says, hey, I don't want to do a webinar, I want to do an automated webinar. I want to do an AI avatar webinar. we have no idea. Might hit and miss. But at the first 10 to 20, don't do stupid shit. Like, stick with the fundamentals, go out there, discover what topic you want, discover a need in the market, discover what makes you special, go out there and reach people. Do simple things. Because if you're hitting your first 10 to 20K, you do not have a lot of money to burn.
Right.
So stick with if this is your first fight,
don't
do spinning, flying, 360, 720 kicks. Stick with simple shit, man. Hit, move, don't get hit. Stick with all the basics. Man. I see anyone as a beginner doing fancy stuff, I would just like call them out. Just like, what are you doing? It's like, hey man, there is in the Navy SEALs, there's something very simple. Crawl, walk, run, fly. Okay, so if you first 10K, you crawl, you walk. That's it.
Okay, just crawl around, guys.
You can fly and do all sorts of wild shit when you're good. Okay, so there's a time to follow the rules. Totally get it as a rebel. There's time to follow the rules and there's time to break the rules. You break the rules once you master the rules. If you don't know the rules, follow rules.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, I guess maybe let's spin the topic a little bit.
No worries. Ask me anything.
Now, like people sell many things, right? From low ticket all the way to high ticket. And like when I joined Melvin's class the first day, like the first thing that he told me was, okay, guys, we're all in here. We're all here to be a leader.
Yeah.
Right. Like Melvin's just like, okay, I want you to be, I want to groom like the leaders of the industry, right? So what do you think are the qualities of a leader? Like if you just like look at someone, you just hang out for someone for like 5 minutes, like how do you know if if they're bound for something bigger, like in the first 5 or 10 minutes of meeting?
So the reason I mentioned that is because a leader is something that you want to begin with right from the beginning. It's kind of like playing to win. You don't start drawing, start losing, then suddenly be like, hey man, I feel like winning. No, you decide right from the beginning, hey, I'm going to come here and I'm going to make an impact. You don't start from a nobody and then all of a sudden pivot to a somebody. You might not be a somebody immediately, but you want to have the mindset of a person that wins.
Okay.
So that's how it is. I want to play to win. I want to
play to win.
I want to play to have an impact also. And to answer your question, what are the qualities of a leader? Very simple. Qualities of a leader. So a qualities of a leader is someone we call an alpha. Now, every time a person hear the word alpha, they're like, oh my God, here's an alpha male. I just talk very loud, muscle very big, start bossing people around. No. Actually, if you go and look at the animal kingdom, an alpha is a person that truly cares about the rest of the pack. So the rest of the pack, yes, they give him, preferential treatment in the area of food and shelter and many other things.
Okay.
But the reason they do so, they're not stupid. They give that because his main job is to take care of the pack.
Right. The alpha's job is to take care of the pack.
Yeah. So if you are an alpha in your family, right, you have your wife and your kids, not to get into who's like, which gender is alpha, etc. But let's say you are the male in the family. Hey man, hey, you are supposed to take care of these people. You know, if there's an incident, you gotta take care of your wife. If there's an incident, you gotta protect your kids. That's why you're the alpha.
Yeah.
Right? So an alpha is not a person who's like, hey man, boss everybody around. No, a person who is an alpha is a person who says, hey, you know what? I'll come to this space, I'll add the maximum value, I'll take care of these people, and I'll make sure I want to bring them to a better place. That makes you a leader. Not a person that comes up and starts bossing people around, speak very loudly, is an arrogant prick. No, that's not a leader. An alpha is a person who is the most generous, the person who is protective of everybody. Simon Sinek wrote a book called Leaders Eat Last. You know, that's why you're the leader. Okay, you eat first, then maybe not. So we respect you because you put the welfare and the well-being of the entire group ahead of yourself. That's why you are the alpha. That's why you are the leader. It's not because you're a selfish or prick.
Awesome. So I think we got about 5 minutes left.
Almost.
We got 10 minutes in total, but 5 minutes left just to end it early. Yeah, maybe like let me just like get to a bit more of your story, right? So like,
ask me anything.
Okay, so like what was the first thing that what was the topic that you did on your first ever webinar? Just curious.
Oh my god! Kids education.
I imagine,
kids education. So 2008 to 2016, amidst me starting on all sorts of different things. So kids education or dating. You know, in 2009 I was
education and dating,
and these are not the same. Just dating was in the internet marketing field. It's about 2009, and then kids education about all the way from 2008 to 2016. Because at the point in time when I was starting my own business and not doing very well, I was also doubling up on the June and December holidays as a kids facilitator / team leader at Supercamp.
So what are the similarities or differences you see, like, in terms of educating kids and educating adults? Like,
dating and kids education, no, nothing similar.
Let me rephrase the question. Like, when it comes to like, personal development, transformation, what's the difference do you see in kids versus adults?
Similarity, right?
Similarities.
Similarity is there's lots of similarity. Adults are older kids. Simple as that. Everyone, if you set up a learning environment that rewards wonder, making mistakes, asking questions, everyone is a kid. If you set up a learning environment that punishes participation, punishes mistakes, and makes everyone live in fear, then you are going to have everyone be some form of an adult, which literally, means like they sit there, they don't talk, they cross their arms, and they just like fear. So everyone's a kid, and everyone can be a very serious adult if you set up the wrong or right environment. So you see the way I teach also, I like everyone to have fun. I like people to laugh, I like stories, and then everyone, whether they are young or old, behave like a kid. That's what I kind of like also.
Awesome. Okay, last question.
Sure.
So if you have one last advice, to your younger self, to your 20-year-old self, or your
I ain't got the answer already.
Your 30-year-old self, what would you say
20
to
or 30?
that person? Yeah.
30 not bad already. 20
20-year-old person who's
I would say stay in there. I thought a lot about this. Sometimes I reflect upon my 18-year journey and the fact that I've helped a lot of young people be able in 2 or 3 years start a 7-figure business. Which is cool, because they come to me at 21, then now they are 24, 25, they have a 7-figure business. Sing dollar, by the way. Then I think about it and I think, wow, I helped them in 2 or 3 years. Like 2 or 3 years means I was 24, I was doing nothing. Shit, man. But you know what? I won't trade any of it away, because if I didn't go through that, and I didn't go through the pain and the problems and the mistakes, I won't be able to help people these days also. So I say, if I didn't go through 7 years, then I would be able to. So I don't wish that I know that was difficult, but I don't want to say things like, hey, you know what? I wish it never happened. So all I'll say to my 20-year-old self is, well, let's get better.
Let's get better.
Stick in there.
Stick in there. All right, thank you so much, Mr. Melvin. So
Thank you.
Amazing interview with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed it as well.
All good. Let's give honest answers.